Hello again. I thought I would make a quick video here just to show you my solution to your question about transferring the variable from the one scene to the other, so that you can have a timer kind of appear to run continuously across scenes. Technically, it's not really running across scenes, but this is how we'll do it. So I'm going to create a scene. We'll create two scenes. We'll call this like a grass scene. I'll create a couple node 2Ds here. In the one, we'll add a color rectangle. Just spread that out to cover the whole screen. We'll change the visibility to green so it looks like grass. In the other node, the only reason I do the different nodes is just so I can change z-index and make sure that the other things don't get hidden behind the color rect, because I'm still not 100% sure how to use those effectively, and I run into problems with like buttons and things in the different layers. So by using the node 2Ds as sort of containers for these different things, it gives me a lot more control over it. I'm sure there's probably a better way to do it, but this is how I like to do it. Let's see. So in this one, let's go ahead and we'll add a timer. I guess the timer doesn't necessarily have to be inside the node 2D. It can be outside of it. But inside the other node 2D, we'll add a label. And just stretch it out and just center everything. Put a 0 in there. So there we go. And also in this layer we will add a button. This is pretty low tech here. Pretty ghetto, but it'll serve our purposes. I meant to move it, but that's alright. And then we'll just say scene change. Okay, that should work. So we have a level, a stage, a scene, whatever you want to call it. We have a timer. Well, I'm sorry, we have a timer and a label that will show the time, and we have a button to change scenes. So let's go ahead and code these things real quick. So we'll create a new text for our grass level, and let's get rid of all this junk here. I know I could have done that when I created the script, but I always forget to do that. So we'll create a variable and we'll just call it time, and it'll be 0. I know there's some way to set it specifically to be an integer or whatever, but that's alright. I don't really want to bother with that right now. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take our timer, and we're going to go up to the node thing. We're going to click on timeout to connect a signal. So every time the timer times out, it's going to run this code in this function here, and every time it times out, we're just going to tell it to do time, that variable time, plus equals 1 every time it times out. Okay, that should be good. Oh, and you know what else? We will also tell it to update the label. So node 2D label dot text equals, and we have to make this a string to put the variable in there as text. And the variable was called time, so that should be good to go. Let's just check our timer real quick and make sure it's set up to do what we want. We want to auto start it, unless you want to type in the start of it in the code here. Which that could be good actually if you wanted to have a little more control little more fine-tuning as to how soon the timer started when the next scene started up. Like if you had a cool transition and you didn't want the timer to start right away, you could have it delay a little bit before it officially starts it. But anyway, we're just going to auto start for now just to make it simple. It doesn't need to be a one-shot because we want it to keep restarting itself every time it times out, so we'll leave that unchecked. Alright, so we have a timer. When it times out, it's going to increment our time variable by 1 and tell the label to display that as its string. So let's check that. Oh, gotta save the scene. Okay, I don't know what that's about. All those errors down there. We're going to define the main scene. It'll be the grass scene. And there we go. There's our basic scene, and there is our timer going. Nice and simple. Okay, let's create a new scene, and we'll call this the desert scene. I got this idea from another YouTuber who did something similar, except he was doing it with clicks. And he was doing a really complex other scene handling thing that I didn't really feel like getting into right now. I actually have no problem using a singleton to make all this work, so... Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, I see, yeah. Because I was playing around with this earlier, and it created some errors because I deleted some stuff to start over from scratch for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this scene. Call it desert. Here's a neat trick. We can right-click, hit merge from scene, go over to our grass scene, double-click that, and then we can basically import all of this stuff from the other scene so we don't have to recreate it. I'll just go over to my color rectangle and we'll change the visibility to something that looks a little bit more like sand. Okay, that'll work. And there's our button and our timer. Let's create a script for this. Create. You know what? I'm lazy, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this whole thing. That should work. Okay, so we'll test this scene out to make... Oh wait, I forgot one thing. When I merge items from another scene, things that need to have a signal connected, you gotta reconnect that signal because the new one will not just automatically be connected. But since there was already a function that matched up everything for this timer, it automatically detected it and connected the signal, which is a pretty neat feature. Alright, let's do this play scene button instead of the regular play button. Since this is not our main scene, let's make sure that the desert scene does what it's supposed to do. Make sure we didn't make any errors there. Alright, very good. So all of that's working. What the heck is this going on here? Oh yeah, it's still trying to load. Oh, I see why it's doing that. Okay, I see why. So just to get rid of those errors, let's do this real quick. I'm going to create one more scene. I guess it doesn't matter what kind of node you use, but just for my own reference, to just keep it clear in my head, I just use this regular white node for that. And I like to call this game manager. This is going to be the singleton or auto load scene that will that all of the other scenes can drop and take variables in and out of. So let's connect a script to that. We don't need any of this crap. We're just going to put one variable in there for now, and we're going to call it time, and I'm just going to do all caps just to differentiate between the time variable on these scenes and then the time variable that's stored in the game manager. Okay. Alright, so a couple more things we need to do. This button, we need to connect its signal. So button pressed. Connect that to our script. And when the button is pressed, we're going to get tree dot change scene, and we're going to change from the grass scene to the desert scene. Pretty basic. And then we're going to do the similar thing over here. Button pressed, connect. I'm lazy, so I'm just going to copy and paste. Just don't forget that we need to change the name of the scene that we're going to change to. Okay. Now, I know the timer is not going to be right with this, but let's just run it, just to double check that all of those things are working fine. So there's our timer, updating the label. I changed the scene, goes back to 0, but then the timer auto starts, so that's all fine and dandy. Okay, so final step here. This will be pretty basic, pretty easy. Let me go up to project settings. I'm just going to get rid of this because that was from before. Okay, so we go up to project settings and we got to go over to this auto load tab, and here we got to click this folder icon to find the path to our scene that we're going to use as our singleton, which I named Game Manager. There it is, Game Manager. We're going to go ahead and add that. And so now it should be good to go to access whenever we do our thing. So here's how I did this when I was playing around earlier. When the scene first loads, the ready function is going to go ahead and it's going to set the variable from the scene called time with the lowercase letters. It's going to set it equal to GameManager.time. So whatever that happens to be, which should hopefully be 0 at the beginning of your game. And just for good measure, we're going to go ahead and update the label to display. So .text equals string, and we'll plug time in. So at the start of the game, it's going to check the singleton to see what the stored time value is and set it to this lowercase time variable, and then update our label to show that number. And then when we change scene, now we could do this a couple different ways. We could make it so that every time the timer times out, not only does it increment time by 1, but it would also increment GameManager.time by 1. I suppose it would be okay to do that, but I like to use the singleton as little as possible. I don't want this constantly trying to update it. So it doesn't really matter if the game manager updates, as long as it does at the end of the scene. So I think when we press the button to change scenes, we'll go ahead and set GameManager.time equal to time. And that should work pretty well. So let's go ahead and copy and paste that over here. And we'll do the same thing with our ready function. Copy and paste. Okay. I do believe that should do the trick. So let's give it a run. Let's see. All those errors. What is going on down there? Oh well. What? Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait. Did I forget to connect my signal? Oh, what am I doing? Button, node. No, it's connected. What did I do? What's this? Index it. Text on base. Label. Value of type string. Oh, did I duh. I misspelled. I left a T off the end there. Oh, well. Okay, now we should be good to go. Ay, ay, ay. What a dumb mistake. Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh, I must have done that in both scenes. Because I did copy and paste after all. So, alright. For real this time. What? What? Oh, for Pete's sake. What in the world? What the heck happened here? Wait, what? I didn't have this problem before. What in the world? Time plus equals 1. We didn't have this problem before. You gotta be kidding me. Invalid operands. Oh, so something's wrong with my plus equal thing because... Oh, for Pete's sake. Thank you for your patience here. Sorry. Let me figure out what the heck... Well, see, that shouldn't make sense because this worked before. That error wasn't a problem before. What in the world? Let me see. Let me see, did I make a mistake with... No, let's see. So, we're going to change time. We're going to go plus equals 1. And we're going to update node 2D to /label to string with time in it. Okay. What did I do wrong? Did I... That looks the same. That should... I don't understand why that suddenly doesn't work. What the what? Oh my lord. This is really... Oh, wait a minute. Ha ha. Oh, what a dumb mistake. I didn't set... Because I have it automatically figuring out what the game manager's time variable is and setting our time variable in the scene, or in scene time, to that, there has to be a value, and I just created the variable, but I didn't put a value on it, so it was coming up as a null value. So, alright. For real this time, I think we should be good to go. This should work. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Our timer is back up and running again. Whew! Ay, 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 it's like pulling teeth. Okay, so we changed the scene, and look at that. The time stay. There's just a little bit of a lag, but not much. Not bad. That works. That works pretty well. As long as you don't mind that there's going to be just a tiny hesitation in the continuation of the count when you go from the one to the other. But I mean, it's a pretty small difference, you know. less than a second. So should be good to go. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful for you, and maybe you already figured this out for yourself, but now you at least see it in action and how it works. Forget about the thing that I had messaged you the other day about a different way to do it, because it's actually a little bit more involved, setting up some functions and a whole scene changing system that I didn't realize because I just sort of jumped ahead in the video of the guy who I was watching. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions, and happy coding. Peace, brother.